the coolest thing about Lylli LaunchTools is that it has two main parts. The first part is a interactive strategy builder and strategy visualizer. So as you can see here, you can put in a goal. Under the goal is the objective, and you can expand or collapse any aspect of this. That's the interactive part. So for the purposes of illustration, you can see the goal here. Beneath the goal is the objective. Beneath that is a strategy. Beneath that is a tactic. And beneath that is a bunch of key activities related to this specific tactic and that specific strategy. So the reason how this is different from any other tool that's out there is, first of all, this whole part of inputting a goal, objective, strategy, and tactic is completely absent from all the existing project management tools like Monday or Trello or Asana, Rike, Product Board, etc. Basecamp as well. And the reason why this is significant is because we spend a lot of time doing a bunch of stuff, but without any direct line of sight as to if these tasks that we're spending a lot of time, money, and effort into, like by doing this, what goal is being achieved. Now, in this case, you can see that the goal is always visible. So you can see very clearly, you have line of sight of it. So you know that by doing this, I know that it's meeting this because it's very directly and visually linked. With other tools, you're putting down a bunch of things, you're spending a lot of time and money, but then at the end of the day, you're like, wait a minute, what did I actually achieve? And that's a little bit of a uncomfortable question to ask yourself because, there's no direct correlation because the planning process wasn't built for that and it doesn't encompass that. So that's one of the biggest ways in which we're different. And again, I'm not going to make a claim by saying we're better than anyone. All I'll say is that this is how we're different. And I'm also explaining the rationale behind why we did it this way, because this kind of came from the need from marketers where they're struggling to capture their launch strategy, and strategy exists in various people's heads, in various people's notebooks and notes, and it's all in these disparate places. And then putting it together where everyone can view it and see it and understand it sometimes can be a challenge, and it takes a lot of time, most importantly. And as you may know, if your launch is delayed, then you're potentially losing out on a whole bunch of sales that would have happened had you launched on time. So with each progressive week of delay, you're then adding to the opportunity loss of those amount of dollars that are now missing from your top line revenue. So that's how Lylli LaunchTools kind of solves for that, very sort of systemic problem with tools at the moment. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is once you've built your strategy, you can then you have to execute it, obviously, because that's the whole point of a strategy. So as far as executing it, this tool gives you a view of what is the status of your process. What is the status of your business operation, or what is the status of the process that you're running? And it gives you two views to manage that. One view is the Kanban chart, which is a Trello-like environment that you see very quickly what is started, not started, completed. And then like Trello, you can actually move between things here, and this then updates the status as well in your overall strategy, because everything is interconnected. Because if it wasn't, then it would be less helpful. So we've kind of made this such that it updates everywhere and it updates automatically. And then the other view is the Gantt chart view for people that want to see timelines. And this is basically, time is passing pretty fast and you want to know where we're at. So you can see this in a day view, which is super granular. And this might be good for you to monitor it with your team about, hey, where we at and stuff. But if one of your backers or principals or angels or whoever, one of your stakeholders wants to know, hey, where we at, this is perhaps not exactly what they had in mind. You might want to share the month view, which gives them a quick snapshot, a bird's eye view of the entire thing, and they can then appreciate everything. And then the color coding here tells you the status. So green is started, blue is completed, red is delayed, and orange is at risk. So the legend kind of tells you, what's happening. And then as you can see here, this is correlating to the goal one, objective one. So you know that the objective one for goal one is, at risk. But when it comes to objective one, goal one, objective one, strategy one, tactic one, which was enter into pitch competitions, that's green, which means that started. So everything kind of maps back to your core strategy. As you can see, because it's the strategy that we're executing. So obviously the strategy needs to be visible, which it is here. So that's like viewing the a snapshot of what's going on. You can download this, which downloads as a PNG file. You can add it to your deck and call it a day. Or if somebody proverbially walks into the room and says, "Where we at?" then you can just, without panicking, you can just simply log into the tool and show, this is where we're at. And then you've saved yourself from all that stress and anxiety of, oh my God, what am I going to say, this, that. And then sometimes our mind wanders. We get frantic about, oh my God, I got to talk to so and so and so and so. And then there's a certain reliance on external parties outside of you about like what's going on. But now that's been eliminated, because now everything is here. Everything is housed here, and everything is being updated in real time. So it's not even like you got to check if someone did something, because you're monitoring the entire process here. And when it comes to collaboration, you could DM somebody directly in the tool itself by saying, hey, what's the update? And you could just send them straight inside the tool. So you're in the same environment that you're working in, that is sending them a message, unlike earlier, where you're sending them a text, they're looking at their text, then they got to put their phone down, go to their computer, and then see what's what, and then get back to you. But now they're in that same workspace that you're messaging them. So there's that direct connection, and they're already in that frame of mind. And if they're not online, that's cool. When they log in, they'll see a notification here, and then they click it, and then they see all the messages that you sent them. So there's that kind of that trail, that audit trail of all the messages that you've sent them, which is like super helpful when it comes to accountability. And then another interesting piece about this is the various products that you can add to it. So here, if you're a company that has multiple products, then great, you add all the products. Now, if you're an agency that has multiple clients, you then add all your clients here. And then each client has its own disparate set of like team and users, and that's how you like manage it. And another thing is you have a dashboard. Now, this is the admin view, so it looks like super busy and super crowded. But when your team logs in, their dashboard is going to look very different. It's going to be only those tasks that you assign them to see. So if it's your dev guy is only going to see those tasks that are relevant to him or her about dev. It's not going to be anything related to sales or marketing or social media or going to a conference or making your pitch deck or anything like that, because it's not relevant to that person. So their dashboard is going to be super specific on the task that you've assigned to them. Now, later on, if your task to them develops, you can obviously update that, and then they'll see whatever that update is. But this kind of gives them that focus, because oftentimes people get overwhelmed with like doing a bunch of things, and then things fall through the cracks. But now every time they log in, they see this, and this becomes that daily reminder of like, hey, this is what I got to do. And even for you, it then becomes easy for you to monitor and manage, because now everyone is looking at it. Because the biggest thing is like, the biggest benefit, I think, is that your team has a clarity of knowing what they need to do and then being prompted to do it. So it eliminates to a degree the amount of follow-up that you need to do, because they already have that clarity, because most teams sometimes don't have that clarity or lose that clarity very fast. And this then solves that.
A couple of questions. First, in the Gantt chart view, or the card view, is there the concept of a dependency? So if one project's dependent on another being completed, And how, if there's a connection, if one's late, does the other one get flagged as running them behind, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, there is a dependency because, yeah, so let's say you're editing the strategy, and then
There it is. I see.
yeah, you can choose whether it has a dependency or not. So it's kind of designed in such a way that we understand that it's a flow and it's kind of linear. So it's one must precede something for the other to then start doing. So, but I think the short answer to your question is yes, dependencies are built into it.
And then in terms of alerts and notifications, so I get the messaging and I get the dashboard. If someone prefers to get a text message or a Slack message or something that the project's completed, or it's now my turn to go and take the next step, is that something you have built in?
Not at the moment, but that's a great idea. So that's something that we might build into like phase 2 or phase 3, where we have like more integration with other tools and other ecosystems based on available APIs. Okay. If you wanted to sign up for a trial and take it for a spin, like we have a 30-day trial. Also, we have this kind of special where if you want to be our showcase client, which means that me and Lynn will work with you to refine your strategy. And then at the next webinar, you'll then be on center stage, and then people will learn about who you are, what you do. So it's kind of like a co-branded experience. So you get, like more people learning about who you are, as well as what we benefit by getting a testimonial from you, as well as them seeing you use the tool. And you can share a version of the strategy, whatever part you're comfortable sharing, maybe your goal and your objective, and anything below that, it's optional for you what you want to share or not share. Obviously the super like sensitive stuff, which is like your competitive advantage, we would never want people to see that. But anything else broad, you can kind of share, because in this way people also know who your ideal client is, your ideal customer, your ideal scenario, things like that, which could be a great lead generation kind of like scenario for you as well. Yeah, because I think like once people see how this is so simple to use and so seamless, that they'll then like get it, because it's a little bit of, it's kind of like the iPhone challenge, right, where people didn't know that they needed the iPhone until they were introduced to the idea, started using it, and realized that they loved it. So it's like one of those kind of situations that we're dealing with. That's why we're trying to have these kind of conversations where, because unlike other tech companies, we actually do care about our users, and we actually want to have that direct personal relationship with our users, which and we're going to be doing this for as long as we can do this. Even when we scale, we definitely do want to have that personal connection with our users, because we really care about people, because these are people's lives we're talking about. It's their companies, it's their families, everyone's depending on them to be successful. So we understand that, and we want to have that kind of direct connection with our users. So that's also part of our like strategy as to how we segment ourselves from anyone else.
Sounds good.